Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Love Your Vibe podcast. And I am your host, once again, Shaun Grant. Hope you guys are doing fantastic, having an amazing Tuesday. Tuesday it is. Yes, an amazing Tuesday. And we're going to get right into it. Talking today, our topic of discussion is to hell with fear and worry. To hell with fear and worry, right? And so the reason I put it, I guess you could say so graphically, is because you really do need to send that to hell, right? So this podcast is mainly based off of finding optimal ways to improve your vibration as it relates to your life, as it relates to your relationships, your career, whatever it is. We always want you to find the highest vibration, because that is when you will live your very best life, when you're vibrating at a high level. So the one thing that fear and worry does is completely rips that from right underneath you. It's like standing on a beautiful Persian rug and admiring it, and somebody comes up and takes it and rips it right from underneath you. You slip and fall, you hit the floor, you're in pain. That is what fear and worry does to you. And the reason why I wanted to get onto this topic today, because, you know, it's November 1st. We're moving towards the holiday season. And this is a time when people start to experience an ample amount of worry and fear. Now, people stress all the time, definitely throughout during the year, but it's something about the holidays that puts people into what I like to call super stress mode. And they just fear the worst for everything. And, you know, it's one of those things that everything we experience, everything that we decide to create, even from a feeling standpoint, will continue to overlap itself in our lives. All right. We've talked about that topic before. And just to kind of reiterate, especially if you hadn't heard me discuss it. So the energy you're creating today, whether it's great energy, low energy, high energy, whatever it is going to be the energy that creates your worlds tomorrow and the next day and the next day after that. And it just overlaps. So if you see your life taking on circumstances that you desire, that you want to see, then that means do what you need to do to stay in that space of energy, right? Now, if it's not what you think it should look like, then you got to find ways to change that up. But it all relates to your vibration. It all relates to your expectation. It all relates mainly to the vibe that you're giving out to the rest of the universe. So, now, what we want to do is take the concept of fear and worry and turn that around to faith and trust, right? Faith and trust. Faith to know that things are always working out in our favor, and trust to believe without a shadow of a doubt that good things will happen and good things will continue to happen. That is the only way you can get rid of fear and worry. And it's best to start off from a place of peace. And here's why peace is so important. So I've done tons of podcasts on this. And I feel like it's something that people overlook so much. For whatever reason, peace always kind of falls through the cracks when it comes to especially the self-help genre. I've always felt like I go into like Barnes and Nobles, and, you know, Amazon has done a great job with it as far as having more books available on the subject, but not very many people, because it's not as sexy as a subject as, you know, wealth, prosperity, relationships, and all this other good stuff. But it seems like there's a lack of illumination on the topic of peace. So anyway, not to get off key, but peace is where you want to start. And the reason you want to start from a place of peace is this. Peace gives you clarity. Peace puts you in a neutral space to see everything as it is, everything as energy, everything as atoms, everything as something that has been created from a spiritual standpoint that is now manifested into something physical. Peace allows you to see things for what they are, right? And that's the beauty of it. There's not really an emotion you experience with peace. A lot of times you can experience joy, but when you're in a true peaceful state of mind, you're observing things without judgment. You're observing things without any type of emotional backing. You're observing things as they are. And this is so important because this is what truly helps us to make good decisions. When it comes down to our lives, when it comes down to things that as it relates to other people, but more importantly, what I try to implement is things that will help you to live your life in the very best way possible. And so, once again, getting back, if we create peace in this moment and continue to create peace, then we will encounter peaceful circumstances. We will be able to bring about a peaceful state of mind, and no matter what we're facing, no matter what circumstances come up against us, or what seemingly, and I say seemingly with a really, really big emphasis, problems that we have, okay? And problems are only perspective. That's another lesson that we'll talk about in the future, but your problems are only problems because they're your perspective on how you see things. But here's the beauty of it. Everything is created in duality in the sense of there are two sides. The law of opposites state that if there's a right, there has to be a left. If there's a front, there has to be a back. If there's an up, there has to be a down. There is that concept with everything, which means that all you have to do is see the other side of it. Now, the guy, the Peaceful Warrior, Dan Millman, wrote this book. It's called The Laws of Spirit. And he talks about, these spiritual universal laws that we can use to basically live life how we want to live it. We just have to tap into those laws that cannot not work. I know that's a double negative, but these laws are working constantly in our lives, whether we know it or not. And it's important for us to realize that that is always the case. So what I'm getting at with this is leading right into the law of relativity. Okay, and so sticking with the title, To Hell with Fear and Worry, when we get into the law of relativity, it kind of ties into the law of opposites as well, stating that, law of relativity that is, there is nothing that is good or bad until we say so, right? Until we say so. So we get to decide, we get to make the choice to see if something is good or bad. And it was a situation, not a situation, an example one of my mentors gave me. And you've probably heard it before, but it's the whole glass half full, glass half empty concept. We have the opportunity to look at our lives from that perspective. And one of the greatest examples is one he used to do with the bank account. And so I remember there was a time I had $15 in my bank account, and I was like nervous, upset, not knowing what I was going to do, how I was going to pay my bills. And he turns to me and he says that, do you know, because you have $15 in your account, you are one of the richest people in the world. And it was this crazy study about how, like in third world countries, most people don't even have a quarter or a dime to their name. But since I have $15, I am one of the top wealthiest people in the world. And you know what that did? That completely shifted my perspective. It completely shifted me from a place of fear and worry to a place of faith and trust and a place of peace, saying like, wow, I can truly be grateful for the $15 I have into my account. So from there, my vibration began to rise and I started to feel good. I started to feel great, actually, about what I was seeing that was reflecting to me from my bank account, my bank statement. And from that point, because that vibration shifted into a place of peace and a place of gratitude, more money came in the next day. And I've taken that lesson with me through everything, no matter how seemingly troubling something can look or seem. I ask myself, what's the blessing in it all? You know, how can I figure out the positives in this? And I want to share another story that just happened recently. Matter of fact, it was this weekend that, you know, this gives you an idea of why you should implement the concept of eradicating fear and worry. So we're on a plane getting ready to go, me and my wife, that is, to Lake Tahoe for the weekend. And we are, you know, going through everything you need to go through whenever you go to the airport. And we're on our plane, seatbelts on, you know, captain's getting ready to take off. We're moving down the tarmac onto the runway. And the captain says we're cleared for takeoff. So we go speeding down the runway, and I'm not sure what speed planes get to take off, but I know that it's fast because when you look out the window, you can see everything just kind of blazing by you. So we're getting ready to take off. Guy takes off, the pilot that is, takes off, and then all of a sudden completely slams back down onto the runway. And then he's hitting the brakes, and it's just like one of the most startling things I've ever experienced. And I'm thinking to myself, okay, well, what's going on? We need to find out what's going on. He comes over the PA system and he says, we just have to get clearance on a couple things. We're going back to the gate. Won't take too long. Now, the first thing we can do is go into a place of fear and worry and say, oh, God, now, you know, we're going to be late. We have people picking us up from the airport. You know, all these problems just beget more and more problems and start to get you to think that, oh, what are we going to do? Like, how long is this going to take? Why me? Why this? Why that? Or we can come from a place, which me and my wife kind of came congruently on this. You can come from a place of, you know what? We probably could have died in that plane crash. We probably could have been really hurt. We probably could be in the Pacific right now trying to swim our way out of a plane crash. But because the universe decided to prompt this captain, to prompt him to stop this flight from happening, our lives were spared. And not only were our lives spared, but we actually got a free meal out of the deal. We actually got a chance to go home and spend more time with our kitten and just relax a little bit more. So it actually worked out in our favor only because we were able to come from a place of faith, trust, and a place of peace. And this is what I want you to do. I want you to take the law of relativity and use it in your life, okay? Use it in everything, no matter what it is. You know, if you're in traffic, you might be listening to this, you're stuck in traffic today. You, instead of saying, oh my God, traffic, oh, I hate putting up foot traffic. It's like, okay, let me listen to an audiobook. Let me listen to my favorite tunes on the radio. Let me do some thinking that's going to help me to come up with something creative to change my life. Let me use this situation to promote something good, not something to build fear and worry upon. Okay, so that gives you an example. But what I want you to do is I want you to continually feed off of finding the positive, finding the great things, finding the high vibration in everything that occurs, and watch how it will change your life. Guys, as always, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for joining me. Look forward to chatting it up with you again tomorrow. Once again, to hell with fear and worry. Visit my website, if you get a chance, got some great products there at ShaunGrant.com. LoveYourVibe.net is coming soon, very soon. But for the time being, ShaunGrant.com, ShaunGrant.com. Go there, got some awesome products, awesome content to help you to live your best life and to raise your vibration. Been a pleasure. We'll see you on tomorrow, guys. Take care. Thanks so much.